good evening, good day, or good afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. Hi, how are you? If you are new here, welcome. If you are not new here, welcome back. Always appreciate the love and support. This is a channel where we go over colorful makeup, sometimes neutral makeup, but not often. Mostly eyeshadow palettes, and we talk about eczema and skincare and makeup that can work with eczema because I am a girl with eczema. Now, let me tell you what we're doing today. I went online to the Ulta website and saw that there were 3 new Colourpop palettes dropping at Ulta. And only 2 of them really intrigued me. So I drove to my local Ulta and I searched the store high and low looking for these 2 palettes. An associate finally came and asked me, hey, can I help you with anything? And I asked her to see if those palettes were in the back because online it said that those palettes were at that store. She ended up finding them and she grabbed them, gave them to me, and said, we have not yet released these, but you can have them. So kind of her. Love her. So sweet. Anywho, so with that in mind, for once, I am on the pulse with something. And I have some new goodies. Now, ordinarily, I do not swatch eyeshadow and makeup on my channel anymore because it tends to irritate my skin. But that was before I figured out more about my skin and how to care for it and treat it and stuff. So I am going to be swatching with you guys today. We are going to be doing a swatch party, a try-on, first impressions tutorial, all of it. And I am so excited. Now before I forget, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and click that little notification bell if you would like a notification for when I upload a video. Let's get into this. Now the palettes in question that I ended up picking up are the Colourpop High Tide and Fine Feathered 9-pan palettes. These were $15 each, and I believe that was because of tax or whatever. The 9-pan palettes are usually $12 with the plastic packaging, but end up being $14 with the cardboard packaging, and I believe these are in cardboard packaging. Comes with these really pretty containers, this packaging here. Oh, love these. These seashells, I'm forgetting what they're called, but they are gorgeous. And this is the Turquoise teal palette. And this is the Fuchsia palette. And I am so excited. So, we are going to be creating a look with each of these, one on one eye and one on the other. And I thought I would wear my most rainbowy shirt, my Care Bear shirt, to try and bring this look together. First, before we create a look at all, swatches. I am going to start with the Colourpop Fine Feathered palette. I love this metallic to go along with these fuchsia shades on this palette. It is beautiful. It has the shade names on the back. Opening it up. Ooh, and it carries that same metallic accent on that same packaging from this on here, which I love because sometimes with these Colourpop 9-pans, the outer packaging is more exciting and more interesting than the real packaging itself. So let us open this up. No mirror, but that's okay. I have one of my own. Little plastic protector. And here are the shades. Ah, beautiful. We have Tweet Me, High Flying, Of a Feather, Take a Gander, No Flocks, Goose Chase. Oh, there's a little, whoops. Nest Egg, Hen Party, and Telltale. Now, Nest Egg and Hen Party Both on the back have little asterisks saying that these are not intended for use in the immediate eye area. I do not know why that would be, but for some reason it's not okay to put on the eyes. But their pressed glitters are okay to put on the eyes. You know, we're gonna ignore that. We're still gonna put it on the eyes because that's me, a rebel. Radio rebel. Okay, so let's start swatching. We're going to go row to row with Tweet Me, High Flying, and Of a Feather. Now, there are a few of these mattes with micro glitter shades in here, like Of a Feather. Okay, that's the only one. That's the only matte with a micro glitter. But I honestly don't mind those that much. What I do mind is when there are pressed glitters, and so far there are no pressed glitters in this palette, because pressed glitters actually really irritate my eczema when I put them on my eyes. Like, it makes me go insane. I want to scratch my eyes off every time I put it on. And they are not environmentally friendly. Okay. So, here we go. This is Tweet Me. Beautiful light pink. Then we have High Flying. Ooh, yes, come through with that pigment. Then Of a Feather, that was not the best swatch. I'm sorry. There's Of a Feather. You can see the light gold reflex in that. I like this kind of mauvey purpley shades. In fact, I like the purpley shades in here more than I do in the Making Mauves palette. If that makes sense. Okay, let me wipe off my fingers and then we'll go to the next row. Okay, we're now going into this row right here with Take a Gander, No Flock, where's that flack? No Flocks, which is another shimmer. There's only 2 shimmers in this whole palette. And then Goose Chase. I like the mix of these pinky purples and really bright pinks in here. I just accidentally got a lot of kickback on my desk, so I'm going to clean this up for a second and then put this on my arm. Okay, here we go. This is Take a Gander. Beautiful. Pigmented. I think these two would go well together. This is the only other shimmer in the whole palette. No Flocks. Which has a nice kind of orangey purple shift. It's really pretty. I really like that color. And then Goose Chase, which is a whoa powerful magenta. Wow. That is a stunning color. The last row for this palette is Nest Egg, Hen Party, and Telltale. Putting this on my arm, Nest Egg. Ooh. Hen Party. I didn't like that one as much. That was not as pigmented, did not go as far. And then Telltale. Now, swatches are not always the best indicator of how a shade is going to perform, but so far, besides this shade right here, these swatches are really great. I'm a little sad about the lack of shimmers in this palette, but I do really appreciate the shimmers they give us. Maybe one more more purpley magenta shimmer would have been nice, but this is exciting. These two colors are pretty similar, and so are these two. Maybe a little more variation between those would have been nice, but yeah, okay. Going to wipe this off and then wipe off this arm. Okay, now we are moving on to the High Tide palette. I have to admit, when I picked these up, this was the one that I was more excited about than Fine Feathered. But what I just played with the swatches, I think I am equally excited about these now. So let's open this up. Ooh, so unlike Fine Feathered, which has no extra design within the container, there is extra design right here. I really like when brands do attention to detail like that. It makes it feel way more like an experience and like it's worth my money than when they don't. Even if it's just $14 or $15, it still makes me feel like you've put a lot more effort in than you needed to. You went the final step that you didn't even have to do, and I always appreciate that. Here it is, looking the same again as this outside packaging. I like that these are raised. It adds texture to it. Oh, I just noticed on the other one, this, if you go side to side on the metal, is textured as well. But anyways, love that texture. Opening it up. Oh no. It's a little bit worse for wear in here. It's not amazing looking. There's some pigment here and here that I'm a little worried about. Let me try and clean this up. Okay, I did my best to clean this up. It looks like there was a nick in here and in that one a little bit, but besides that, it's all good. And once again, this one comes with 2 shimmers only, and then, oh, actually, I was wrong. Sorry, 3. This whole row is a shimmer, and then 1 matte with micro glitter in it. So, I believe it is time that I go through the names of the shades, and then I swatch them. So this one is Just a Splash. Then we have Currents. Then we have Free Floating. We have Urchin. We have Must See and Flora. We have Muscle Beach, New Wave, and Lunar. So, very excited for all this. And as with the first one, we will start row by row by row with this first row. So, Just a Splash, which is the only matte with micro glitter in it. Currents, and Free Floating. Just a Splash. Ooh, pretty. Currents. Ooh, I really like that shade. I really like that shade. I really like that shade. And Free Floating. Man, that is beautiful. That shimmer right there. It's got a turquoise and silver shift to it, and I love it. I'm going to wipe my hands and move on to the next row. So next, I'm going to swatch Lunar, Must See. This is not Lunar. Sorry, this is Urchin, Must See, and Flora. I love the play on words they do with their palettes. Especially their monochromatic ones. They tend to have themes like that. Love it. Okay, so Urchin. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Must See. Ooh, this is a more minty or greener version of that. Love it. And Flora. very gray blue. What's really nice about this palette is there's a lot of tones in here that I do not have in my collection for both of the palettes that I swatched. And I really love when there are no redundancies in my collection, because it feels like everything in my collection therefore is important and has its place and isn't a repeat. So far I'm loving this. Okay, last row, we have Muscle Beach. We have New Wave. And we have Lunar. Now what's interesting is on this palette, none of the shades have the asterisk saying they're not eye safe, unlike the Fine Feathered palette. And the only instances where I've encountered that with Colourpop palettes have been ones with those kind of purpley tones, and they say not eye safe, which makes no sense to me. Muscle Beach. Ooh, that is like a steel gray grungy blue. Oh my gosh, I'm in love. New Wave. Yes, 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 yes. And Lunar. Oh my gosh. I am so excited for these looks, you guys. Oh my gosh. Now, are there any not problems, at anything that I would have wanted differently based on the swatches, like the Fine Feathered palette? I wouldn't have wanted this shade because I'm probably not going to end up using it. Really light shades like that, I never use. I don't know what to do with them. But besides that, I love all the shades. None of them are too similar to each other in my eyes. And this shade is so unique. It's like a turquoise gray. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait to use this, you guys. Okay, let me wipe my hands and my arms, then we will get to this look. To start with, I am going into my matte paint pot in the shade Painterly, using a little flat brush. I apologize for my dog. My dog was barking the whole time for a long time, so I figured I could just put on my eye primer while she did that, so you guys wouldn't have to hear that, and I wouldn't have to wait, and all that. So, I am going to do both eyes simultaneously, which is going to be a little weird, but we're going to do it. Going into Fine Feathered. Taking that off. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to use these colors and maybe this color. I will reserve these more dark gray purples for a different time, but taking my eye contour brush, the e.l.f. one, into this shade Take a Gander. As you can see, a little bit of kickback, but that's okay. It's what I expect in Colourpop palettes. Then I'm going to tap off the excess. We are doing the pink on this eye. I'm not used to doing my left side first. Wow, pigment. But c'est la vie. Oh my gosh, that is an amount of pigment. Wow. Wow. I mean, I'm not surprised totally because I love Colourpop and they usually have really great pigment and quality of eyeshadows, but still, wow. Okay, this is the more neutral lighting versus the warmer that I don't normally do and the cooler toned that we had before. Do we like this better? I don't know. That's okay. So now I'm doing the same step on the other side. Same step on the other side, just a different color. I can do this. I'm going to use Currant and Urchin to create my look for this side. So going into Currant with my Colourpop E17 brush, which also has a fair amount of kickback. gently place that down. Oh, almost forgot. Tap off the excess. 2 taps. So that's the way that I roll. And doing the same thing on this side. It is not as vibrant as this color is, but that might just be because this is a lighter toned and it is a mint shade. Now taking my e.l.f. eye crease brush and I'm going into this shade Goose Chase right here. Also a fair amount of kickback, but we don't care about that on this channel. We don't mind it as long as it's not an incredible amount. 2 taps, placing this gently down. I'm doing the same basic eye shape that I normally do for both looks. This is also pigmented. Take my NYX blending brush. The name of it has been completely worn off by now. And I'm going to blend that out. So I think I realized my problem with the colors I chose for this look. This down. It's not that this looks bad, it's just that this is way more warmed tone than this is. And so like these go together, but that should have been with maybe a more cooler toned color. But nevertheless, I don't think there's anything wrong with it at the moment. I like it, it's pretty. It's just not what I was expecting. I am taking my Colourpop E21 brush and going into that shade Urchin right there. This entire palette is just, both of these palettes are incredible. Just the color stories, looking at them. Little bit of kickback. Can you see it? Yes, you can. But not that bad. Tap, tap. Now for this side. Holy pigment, Batman! Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So far, not a lot of fallout under my eyes, which is great. Love when that doesn't happen. Taking my BH Cosmetics V5 blending brush, blending this out. I got this brush for free with a purchase from BH, and I have to say that this is actually a really great brush, and it makes me want to try more of their brushes now. I don't really need any more brushes. I think I'm good on the brushes front, but should I need any more, I know who I will turn to for affordable options. And I love how that blended together. I think this blended together way better than this did because, I don't know, this seems a little patchier, and like this, again, is more cool toned with this more warm toned here, so it doesn't end up looking right. These are the same, like this entire turquoise thing is all cool toned. I don't think you could do a warm toned turquoise, so it works, but not with this. So now that these looks are on, I think I'm going to deepen these up a bit, just a bit, because I'm starting to get towards the end of the day, and even though I don't let the daytime dictate how deep my eye look is, let's go sultry. Let's go crazy sultry. So, let's try out this shade Nest Egg right here. The one thing with this palette is there doesn't seem to be a super deep shade for the whole palette. Like, this is a medium deep shade for that. These are kind of all around the same color, but they can be deep shades. Like, that can be a deep, this can be a deep shade for that. these two are, that's lighter, that's the more medium. You know what I'm saying. Whereas with the High Tide palette, you have this shade as the end-all be-all deep shade in this palette. So just a little gripe with the Fine Feathered palette, but I'm still excited about this palette. So going into Nest Egg, even though they said not to put it on my eyes, I am a rebel and I am putting it on my eyes. Kickback. I recently discovered something on my own about colors the other day, and maybe this is more well known to the artists out there than it is to me, but I recently realized that the different shades of a color depends on the primary colors that make it up. Like green. There are either more yellow shades of green or more blue shades of green, but there are not more red shades of green because that would just make a muddy, weird brown. Like, green doesn't derive from red. Purple. There are more red shades of purple and more blue shades of purple. There are not more yellow shades of purple because purple doesn't derive from yellow. Orange. There are more yellow shades of orange and there are more red shades of orange. You know, you get what I'm saying. Now, one little kink in this theory that I came up with was brown. And I started thinking about it and I was like, well, but brown is influenced by like all the colors. There can be green browns, yellow browns, orange browns, blue browns. And then I started thinking, well, what colors make brown? Green and purple make brown. Green is made from yellow and blue, and purple is made from blue and red. So that's basically all the primary colors right there. So yeah, that's the breakthrough that I had. It's not that important, but I was super proud of figuring it out on my own. Okay, now I'm taking my Colourpop E21 brush and going into Lunar right there. I'm being very careful not to touch it because it keeps crumbling. Oh yeah, see, a lot of fallback. Fallback? Fallout? Kickback. Kickback. I always get those two mixed up. Tap, tap. Oh! 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 Whamma mamma. Okay. Wow. Yeah, that was a bad whistle. That's, wow, I was not expecting that. See what I mean, though? The Fine Feathered palette did not have a shade as deep as this, as dark as this color. You don't. It's more of a lighter, medium-toned palette, whereas this can go deep and dark. Wow. And maybe that's one thing I would change about the Fine Feathered palette, is I would add a shade like this for this color story, because there's a ton of medium shades in there, but there is nothing like this. And there's like 3 almost repeat shades, so that is what I'm thinking. Wow. I'll tell you what, wow. Okay, now that this is on, I am going to do shimmers, and you know how I do my shimmers. I use a brush first to see how it is with a brush, and then and then after that I use a finger to see whether it changes the intensity if I use a finger instead. Because some shimmers tend to work better with fingers for whatever reason. Maybe it's the fingerprint adhesion, maybe it's the oils we have on our fingers naturally. Anyways, going in with my Colourpop eyeshadow C brush. This is not Colourpop, this is e.l.f. Sorry, e.l.f. eyeshadow C brush into the No Flux shimmer. Pretty. Very sheer. like a topper. So you know what that means. Going in with my finger, sorry, into No Flocks. Much better. Much better. Love this duochrome. Love that they added a duochrome. It's not as incredibly pigmented as I would want it to be. I was hoping for maybe, like, can we just have another shimmer in there with a little more depth, and then another shade that's a matte with a little more depth? Can we do that? I'm not upset with this palette. I want to preface that. I like this palette. It's just an idea that I had that would make it better. Okay, now on to High Tide. Taking my Colourpop E18 brush, going into Must See. Pretty. Not a lot of pigment with the brush, so very pretty. Woo, yes, that's much better. Much more pigment to it. Much shinier. This is not as much of a duochrome, it's just a straight turquoisey teal, but that's okay because you already have 2 duochromes in here, so I'm not complaining. I'm going to do the rest of my face, and then I will come back for my final thoughts on this whole thing. Okay, you guys, here is the finished up look. I'm not used to having two entirely different color stories on each eye, but I really love this look. There's that one. There's that one. And here they are together. I enjoyed working with these palettes and doing a swatch party with you guys and doing a whole tutorial and first impressions. I like this palette more than I like this palette. This one more than this one for the things that I mentioned before. This one has a deeper shimmer. This one does not. This one has a deeper matte. This one does not. But that being said, I still really enjoy both palettes, and I'm so glad that I've added them to my collection. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helps you with your purchasing habits. And yeah, I just hope you all have a wonderful day. Mwah. Bye.